You lie in the pitch black of a Pleistocene night, listening to the grass move. You hold your breath. The damp darkness hides a predator whose eyes can see perfectly in the gloom, while your own primate vision is virtually useless. What could you possibly do to survive? For 99% of human history, this terrifying vulnerability was the daily reality of your ancestors. You were not the apex predator. You were the prey. You were small, slow, and completely lacked the natural weaponry of sharp claws or massive fangs. How did your ancestors manage to survive in a world ruled by monsters? You might think we triumphed because of our weapons, but the fossil record tells a far more humbling story. In the dry limestone caves of Swartkrans in South Africa, researchers uncovered the fossilized skull of a young, early human relative cataloged as SK54. It lived nearly 2 million years ago. Do you know what was stamped into the back of that skull? 2 circular puncture marks. The legendary South African paleontologist C.K. Brain studied these marks for years. He compared them with every known fossil predator in the area and found a perfect match. Those holes precisely fit the lower canine teeth of a Pleistocene leopard. The young hominid had been caught, killed, dragged up into a tree, and slowly consumed. This was not a rare accident. It was the standard hunting strategy of large cats in the ancient African woodlands. These cats cached their kills high in tree branches to hide them from hungry scavenger packs of giant hyenas. How did we avoid this fate becoming the end of our species? Anthropologists Donna Hart and Robert W. Sussman investigated this question deeply in their groundbreaking research. They analyzed fossil damage and modern predator-prey dynamics across millions of years. They concluded that early humans were not the mighty hunters we imagine today, but were instead regular meals for large cats, hyenas, and birds of prey. Our ancestors were the ultimate underdogs. Would you have survived a single day in their shoes? Let us reconstruct a typical day in the life of your ancient ancestors. You wake up at dawn on the open savanna. You are hungry, thirsty, and cold. Your survival depends on finding tubers, berries, and perhaps the leftover scraps of a lion kill. But as you walk, you must scan every bush. You look for the twitch of a tail. You listen for the low rumble of a stomach. Every member of your small band is on high alert. If a predator charges, running away is death. A saber-toothed cat or a giant hyena can easily outrun you. What is your only defense? You stand together. You scream, throw rocks, and wave branches as a single, loud, intimidating organism. By behaving like a giant, chaotic beast, you convince the predator that you are not worth the trouble. This was your shield. Predators are calculating creatures. They evaluate the risk of injury before every single attack. A single broken bone could prevent them from hunting, leading to slow starvation. If you look dangerous enough, they will move on. How did we learn to exploit this calculation? Your ancestors also developed a unique physical advantage. Our shoulders evolved to throw objects with incredible speed and accuracy. We are the only animals on Earth that can throw rocks to keep predators at a distance. Our unique shoulder joint allows a rapid, whipping motion. We can launch heavy missiles with deadly force. No other primate possesses this anatomical ability. Can you imagine throwing a stone to save your life? But what happened when the sun went down? Night was the time of absolute terror. You could not run, you could not hide, and you could not see. This is why the discovery of fire was the ultimate game changer. Fire did not just cook food. It created a barrier of light and heat that kept the monsters in the shadows. Behind the flame, you slept in shifts. You trusted your companions to watch the dark. But even fire was not a perfect guarantee. Sometimes, the danger came from above. Consider the tragic story of the Tong child, a young fossil skull found in South Africa. For decades, the cause of its death was a mystery. Then, researcher Lee Berger noticed tiny, distinct marks inside the eye sockets. These marks matched the damage done by modern eagles to monkeys. The child had been snatched from the sky by a giant prehistoric eagle. How could your brain ever relax in a world like that? The answer is that it did not. Your brain developed a permanent state of hyper-vigilance. You evolved to fear the dark, to jump at sudden noises, and to see faces in the shadows. This brings us to a counterintuitive twist about human evolution. We often think of our intelligence as a tool we built to conquer the wild. In reality, our intelligence was forged by our fear. Being prey forced us to cooperate. If you were a solitary creature, you were food. But if you were part of a tight-knit group, you survived. We had to read each other's expressions. We had to communicate silent plans. We had to trust each other with our lives. Our language, our empathy, and our societies were born because we were hunted. We did not become smart and then survive. We survived because we became social. Is it any wonder you still crave connection today? This ancient pressure shaped your body too. Your sweat glands, your upright posture, and your long-distance running capacity evolved to help you forage during the midday heat when predators were sleeping. We adapted to the sun because the night belonged to the claws. We carved out a niche in the hottest hours. But the legacy of those nights of terror remains inside you. You can see it in your modern anxieties. Why do we fear public speaking? Because standing alone in front of a staring crowd triggers the ancient primal warning of being watched by predators. Why do you feel uneasy in the dark? Because your brain still remembers the Pleistocene nights when the dark had teeth. You are the descendant of the survivors. Every one of your ancestors managed to escape the claws. They kept the fire burning. They watched each other's backs. They passed down the fear that kept them alive. And now, you reap the rewards of their constant vigilance. You lie in the pitch black of your modern bedroom, listening to the house settle, completely safe from the monsters that made you who you are.